Hey y'all, it's your girl Barbie J here. Welcome to my channel, June BLC. Hey there, everybody. It's your girl Barbie J here with the recap and review of Tyler Perry's comedy drama, Sistas, Season 8, Episode 11. Breathe. Breathe. And everybody's needing to stop and take a moment to breathe. Andy and Robin need to breathe. Jordan needs to breathe. Danny and Rich need to breathe. All of them. Zach, Fatima, Karen, they need to breathe. And that's what's going on here. So, before we get started, if any of you are new here or returning and have not subscribed to this channel as of yet, please take a moment right now. Subscribe for the holidays. That's right, subscribe and give me that gift of subscription. I would really appreciate it. Help my channel grow. I'm trying to reach 7,000 subscribers by the end of the year, and I can only do it with your help. And then I ask that you hit the notification bell and select all. It'll let you know every time I upload any new content to this channel. Then I ask that you smash that like button, which is the thumbs up button, write a comment and join the conversation, and share because sharing is caring, and I would really appreciate it. Sorry to sound like I'm begging, but I'm just trying to meet a goal that I had, and I only have like 7 more days to get there. Anywho, now, this episode starts off with Andy and Robin in the penthouse. She wants to go back to work, and he's trying to explain to her about optics and how the situation she's in will look to the firm as well as to the police if she moves around like business as usual. Then Robin expresses his feelings for her, wanting to kiss her, and he's asking permission, but she didn't even care. Then she said some choice words to him and told him how she's going back to work. And he asked, well, when can they expect her back? And he said, next week. And she said, no, today, which is really dumb. It's the end of the day. It's probably like 4 or 5 o'clock. She talking about she coming back to work today. And Robin was saying it made no sense, which I have to agree with him on that. It really didn't. She needed to give the FBI some time to get another suspect. That's what she should have been working on and thinking about herself, because how you going to just walk up in the office and think people are not going to be staring when you're a suspect in a murder? Come on. It made no sense. Anyway, next we have Jordan at the precinct waiting for his sister when an officer at the precinct is being very inappropriate, unprofessional, and rude towards him. He's asking about when his sister coming out from the back, and she started bringing up all the dirt that she heard about him in the news and about Andy and about Penelope. So she wasn't of any help at all. And I just was like, this officer was too much. She was out of line. I don't know. Y'all put it down in the comment section what y'all thought. It was funny though. I ain't gonna lie. I was laughing, but she was way out of line. Next, we have this scene with Karen at the salon doing a client's hair, but being distracted by phone calls from Aaron, Pam walking by getting in her business, and a slew of text messages from Zach about baby stuff. So the situation starts getting so bad that the client gets up and leaves with her hair half done. Her name was Justice. They was like, Justice, you gonna leave just like that? She said, you know what? You can't touch my hair no more. Let me know when you're not so distracted, okay? She said, I'll be back. You ain't touching my hair again. And the girl walked out. I said, and she didn't pay. Pam talking about, you gonna bring back out clips, girl, please. So next we see this quick scene with Andy. She arrives at the office in the evening. She parks her car and she's walking to the building and someone is following her and she could feel it. But when she turns around, she doesn't see anybody. He hides behind a pole. I said, this girl is ridiculous showing up to work all dressed up. It is dark outside. Makes no sense. Then we have Sabrina and Rich at the basketball court. And she told him, do not make this too competitive. So he asked, where's Maurice and Grayson? And she told him that Maurice said he just got his nails done and they will not be touching any balls soon, not even Grayson's. And Rich said, TMI. Sabrina said, well, you asked. So anyway, she said she didn't want it to be competitive, and he said that the loser has to give the winner a bubble bath. And she said, okay, so it's a win-win situation. And she stood at the foul shot line took the first shot and it went right in. And Rich was like, oh boy. So now we have Tony arriving at Danny's apartment with flowers, and she has cooked dinner for him. And then they start kissing, and he's saying how he's been waiting all day to do that. And then they had the nerve to blame her coworker Leonard for that. I'm like, what? No, a bunch of couples do not work together. It's not him. It's you. Y'all need to just roll it back and chill, okay? So then he notices that Danny has the sparkling cider on the table, and she says she's not vaping either, nor doing blunts, joints, gummies, or hashish. just them and her sober thoughts. And he's like, "Oh, okay, cool. I'm down to meet this new Danny." And she's like, "Okay, but you should be worried." Anyway, now we see Fatima and Hayden in the law firm hallway talking, and he lets her know that he's leaving the office. And Fatima got excited and said, "For good?" And he said, "No, he's going to a meeting with a client." So Fatima was acting like nobody even cares. So next thing you know, they start exchanging some digs on each other and their significant others, and then he leaves the office. So then it switches over to Hudson. He's at the hospital having Gary sedated by these two orderlies because Gary keeps talking about Andy and tells him that Andy, is her fiance. She's the only one he trusts. And Hudson was like, "You know what, Gary? I didn't want to say this, but Andy is possibly the person who stabbed you." And Gary said, "You're lying. You're lying. My love for her is real. She loves me." And Hudson tells him that you've had 5 or 6 fiancés and it's not real. So he tells the orderlies that Gary's a danger to himself and to sedate him. Now, back over to the law firm, Andy comes in and Fatima rushes over to hug her. And Andy notices that the partners are meeting in a conference room. And she said, "Robin didn't tell me anything about that." So when Mr. Benson comes out, he tells Andy sorry and that it's for the best. And she said, "What's for the best?" Then Robin comes out and says to Fatima, "It's after 7 p.m. Shouldn't you be heading home?" And she said, "Since my boss is back, I'd stay as long as she needs me." So Andy tells her to go home to Zach and Michael, and I'll handle whatever this is. She said, "Well, if you need me, just say the word, and I'll be back with my heavy bag." And Robin said, "Oh, you put the gun I gave you back into your bag?" I said, "Oh, shoot, Robin, it's funny." Then Robin tells Andy that she is being suspended and put on temporary leave pending the outcome of the FBI investigation into Gary Borders. He wanted her to be voluntary, but because she was being so adamant about going back to work and not thinking about the optics and everything else, I guess that's what he had to do. I don't know, but it sounded like it was reasonable if you ask me. So anyway, he said he's sorry, but the offer for a managing partner has been rescinded, and Andy slapped him and called him a SOB and walked away. I said, "Uh-oh, there's a problem in Loveland." Then we have Karen. She shows up to Zach and Fatima's house at night to see Zach unannounced again. But Fatima lets her in and then learns that Zach had been texting Karen 11 times, annoying her to no end about baby stuff. Zach is like, "I'm just being proactive." Then when Fatima heard about him telling Karen not to breastfeed so that he and Fatima could have the baby sooner, both she and Karen looked at him and said in unison, "That's not your decision to make." And then Fatima told Zach he need to calm down and allow Karen to take the lead on this. The babies haven't even been born yet. And Zach is like, "Whatever, y'all can't be ganging up on me." But this is so silly, y'all. Let's be real how silly this sounds, especially if they're going to say in the next coming episodes that Fatima is pregnant. At this point, Zach must know. So why don't he just use all this information for his baby that he's going to have with Fatima? Am I right? Put it down in the comment section. This is making no sense how they having him acting right now. So next we have Hayden and Tamara. They're making out on the couch, but then he doesn't want to kiss her. And she's like, "Why? What's going on?" And he said, "I don't want to kiss you where Gary's dirty penis has been." She's like, "Oh my God, we're not going to go through this again." And he's like, "Yeah." He said, "Matter of fact, I'm going to go to Vanguard Hospital to have a talk with Gary." And she said, "The last time you went to have a talk with Gary, he ended up with a knife in his chest." I said, "Ooh." So now we see Penelope at the precinct with Agent Watt, and he's saying to her that he wishes she hadn't left protective custody that night. then we wouldn't be here. He said, I tried to protect you. And she was calling him by his first name, calling him Josh, and then told him that things she was guilty of. You know, she started saying, I'm guilty of this and I'm guilty of that, but she wouldn't say she was guilty of killing Gary. Then she admits that she followed Gary to the banquet hall where he was going to marry Andy, and he asked her what did she do when she got there to Gary, and she said she don't know. She don't know because she keep having these blackouts, so she don't know. All she knows is that there was blood all over her hands. She said, so I must have done it, right? And then said, I killed Gary, like I guess I did it. And then the next thing you know it, Jordan is at the precinct and see his sister handcuffed and being walked by, I guess over to lock up or fingerprinting or whatever. And he's like, what's going on? And he said, your sister's under arrest for the attempted murder of Gary Borders. He's like, she didn't do that. She didn't do that. And he tried to grab her and he said, get back, get back. And Penelope tells him, don't, Jordan. And he said, listen to your sister. And they disappeared behind a door. So now back to the basketball court where Sabrina has beat Rich 21-16, and he's sitting there telling about she had luck. And she was like, I got skills. He said, no, you got lucky. She said, I have skills. And he actually looked like he was upset that he lost to her. I can't stand when men act like that. There are some men out there who get upset if they get beat by women in some kind of competition. Anyhow, she said, I hope that if you and I have a daughter one day, that you will let her know that, and she happens to beat a boy in something, I would hope that you would let her know it's because of her hard work and dedication and not that she just got lucky. And so he promised that he would do that. The next thing you know, his phone rings and it's the lab saying they need him to come in. They think there's something wrong with his sample. And y'all know what I told y'all about that. I said it would be funny if something's up with Rich's sperm and that his soldiers don't march, aren't marching in order. They going sideways or something. I don't know. I said, but I have a feeling that's what it's going to be. And she going to have to call Damani back and use his. And Rich is not going to be happy about that. Their relationship is going to go way downhill after that. Mark my words. So now back to Danny and Tony, who are finishing up dinner. He compliments her on her cooking and said, if you keep cooking like that, you'll never get rid of me. And she said, you mean you're only going to love me for want me for my culinary skills or something like that. So then he gets up and starts kissing her and stuff. And she told him to focus on the titties tonight. That's what she said, y'all. But then he was like, you ain't got to tell me twice. And he was getting it in. And then she started stopping. And he's like, what? Did I say something wrong? She said, well, Creisha asked me, do I use sex the way I use vaping and drinking? So Danny considered Creisha's words and then said, oh, what the heck? Rome wasn't built in a day. And they started to make out again. But then she wasn't like really into it and stuff. And he said something about coping mechanism or whatever else. And it just got to her, whatever. And she stopped. And he was like, what's going on? He's like, did I trigger something? And she was like, can we go one night without talking about triggers and coping mechanisms? And he said, well, clearly you're feeling something and he thinks it's healthy to talk about it. And she said, I didn't ask you what you thought. And then he accused her of pushing him away and shutting him out. And she said, can we go one night without you psychoanalyzing me? Because if you can't, you can go home because I'm tired of feeling like you're a freaking patient. And then he got up to leave and said, bet. He walked out, grabbed the bottle of wine. She said, you going to take the wine? And she threw the flowers at him. And he said, well, you don't need it anyway. And then she went into the kitchen. He slammed her door and she started vaping a little bit and put the pen down. And she started feeling tightness or something in her chest. Next thing you know, she was sliding down to the floor. And she grabbed her cell phone and called somebody and said, I think I'm having a heart attack. And it went off like that. But I don't think it's a heart attack she's having. I think she's having a panic attack, or anxiety attack. It's called those two things. But y'all let me know what y'all think is going on down in the comment section. Then it ends with a scene in the hospital with Hudson on the phone with somebody telling them that they might have a problem. And then he says, let me go somewhere in private to talk. And he went out of Gary's room. And when he went out of Gary's room, Hayden came in another door. And he goes into Gary's room and looks at him lying in the bed and calls him a dirty backstabbing MFer. And he said, after all I done for you, something like that, you BA, you know. And then he picked up a pillow and said, "You deserve to die," and act like he was gonna suffocate him. But it went off just like that. So y'all let me know what y'all thought about this episode. I didn't care much for it. I'll be honest, I didn't care much for the entire episode. But we'll see how it goes down. I guess my favorite scene was Fatima and Karen in the house being on the same page with the baby stuff that's going on with Zach and whatever. So, anyhow, happy holidays, everybody. I hope you all have a wonderful week. I hope you have a Merry Christmas, Happy Kwanzaa, all of that stuff. And I will see you all in the next video. Please do not forget to subscribe, like, comment, and share. Subscribe to my channel, please. Help my channel grow for the New Year's. Please share the video, share it, because sharing is caring. And don't forget, Jesus is the reason for the season. It's your girl Barbie J saying, see you in the next one. Peace.